Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. How are we, guys? It's getting exciting now. We are getting close to some actual evidence, some actual practice games. We're getting a lot of match sim, which is giving us plenty to think about. I'll have a bit of a team update video pretty soon. Jesus, we're 20 seconds in, and I need the water already. But yeah, we'll have a bit of a team update pretty soon. Feel like there's mid prices everywhere, and I just wanted to do a bit of an updates video. I mean, I feel like there's a stack of things to talk about in terms of injuries that either have an impact on the exact player we want to pick or a flow-on effect to another guy. So yeah, as the title suggests, I've probably alluded to a few of them, but like, who's going to replace Houston? A bit of an article about that. Kitty Coleman ruled out of the first month. What do we do with him? Sean Darcy goes down. All of a sudden, what are we thinking about? Luke Jackson, Matt Flynn really seems 50-50 ball with Williams, and then you've even got what was the other point I was going to talk about? Wardlaw goes down, and then Parker becomes a bit relevant, or even more relevant. Some people were already thinking about him, but so yeah. Anyway, we'll jump into that in a second. But I've been working hard today, guys. I've just got out of the bathroom. Nothing hectic, guys. Shorty was just cleaning. But do you ever just have to get into the shower and just give it a serious scrub? It has gone unscrubbed for some time, and I thought, look, the cricket's on. We've just got Australia versus Sri Lanka on the radio. You got to get in there, mate. You got to get in there. You didn't end up doing it over your long school holidays, so I think my brain's like 60% bleach right now because I just got in there, just scrubbed the shit out of it, just threw hot water around left, right, and center. It was hectic stuff, but probably didn't put the bathroom fan on till about halfway through, and yeah, I feel like my brain's just absorbed half the chemicals in there, but that's cool. That's cool. We'll just we'll just keep trucking along. But I reckon I'll upload this one Sunday night, and we are also going live each Wednesday now. Quite a few regulars. Great to see them last Wednesday on the first live of the year. I reckon in years gone by, I've only done maybe one, possibly two pre-season lives, but I feel like, gee, that's where it's at the moment. Also been doing, because the TikTok's been so successful, that's such a growth area at the moment. I've also been doing quite a few shorts, so it's basically just the TikTok I do, and then I just upload it to you don't always get to choose the thumbnail, but I just upload it straight to YouTube as well. So if some shorter, more 1-2 minute sort of content is your style, feel free to get stuck into that. But first things first, Coleman goes out, and look, we got to keep some sort of a surprise around the team reveal. Coleman goes out. Also worth noting that Flanders back concern, not doing any contact training. I know a few people have him, so you might want to rethink that. The Coleman decision, he's in 34% of sides, that's going to have to quickly go to 0 because, you've probably already seen, but when was this? I think it was the injury watch. Now, a few people are talking about Tom Doedee, but they both get mentioned here. Coleman, who has had a few setbacks, is likely to be available by gather round. Well, he's going to be a handy downgrade / sideways trade for a rookie, you would imagine, at some stage, but that's no help to our starting size. As will Tom Doedee, who the Lions are being extra cautious with. Now, I heard a lot of people discussing Doedee, but if I'm reading that correct, will be available by gather round, as will Tom Doedee. So I can only assume that we are ruling him out as well. But he's in 3% of sides, and just heard a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people mentioned Shonmaker as well. I'm not sold on it. I feel like Wanganeen Miller and Sinclair do the bulk of the rebounding. I just can't see it. I feel like he'll average better than 62. But I'm not really feeling that. Look, I think you've either got to downgrade just down to... Miller is always that tease, but surely not. I personally would be going all the way down to a downgrade. And I think Ben Patton, however you want to say it, bit unique. James Leake, a bit unique as well. I think he's only in 14 or 15% of size, so it's not unique, but maybe a little less popular than some of the others. Otherwise, we all know the rookies we've been thinking about, and they'll unveil themselves through the practice games. But the one guy I wanted to talk about is Josh Sin at 229. Now, he's in 5% of teams, and I think a lot of that has come about from the article, and it grabs your eyes when you hear working so hard, the hidden power gem set to replace Houston. Hang on a minute. Now, I was really interested to see who would replace it, because I feel like we have Farrell, we have Burton, we have Evans, we have Burgoyne, Bergman. Like, there's a lot of guys, and now Sin, who's probably the most highly touted of the lot. As we all know, I think he's like pick 12 many years ago, suffered a whole lot of injury. But yeah, very much this article, and I think his teammate, whoever it was really pumping him up. Ollie Wines. He's really impressed. Who's had injuries throughout his career. He's been drafted, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there's some quote here somewhere where he really does pump him up. He's working really hard with Dan Houston going out. He gets that role off halfback, and I think he'll grab it with two hands. So, that was Horn Francis. So all the boys are talking about him. Now, by no means do I feel like this is locked and loaded, because then we read some training notes, and the boys at, I think it's Nerds for Life or something, doing some extreme stuff, and what's going on here? Nerds for Life. Let's see if I can find the training notes for Port Adelaide. Josh Sin didn't take part, ran laps. So, what's going on here? Quite interesting. You know, Logan Evans took some kickouts previously. Even Dylan Williams was taking some kickouts. So, I don't know what to read into it. All I can really say is that he's a definite watch. I think Sin has certainly been highly touted and is a guy that at the price, and if he gets any type of that opportunity, yeah, bloody look out. But we're going to have to wait and see, aren't we? Otherwise, you'd have to make a few different moves to upgrade. You might have to sacrifice something else to get the cash. And while there's a lot of mid-price options through the midfield and the forward line, I'm not very excited by too many down back. I mean, aside from Mills, you know, I'm not too sold on Roberts. I think you got to go all the way up to, you know, at least a Tom Stewart or something like that. Probably about 520 is where I start to get interested for a premium. But don't sleep on Dan Houston either. I think he's going to average 115. I'm really trying to get him in my team. You know when you get stuck on a certain team and structure and you wish you could have all these blokes, but yeah, anyway, we're working away. We are working away. So we'll take a bit of a look now, I reckon, at Luke Jackson, which it's almost deja vu with Sean Darcy going down, and all of a sudden Jackson becomes very, very relevant. How do we approach it? Let's take a look at it now. First things first, the Sean Darcy injury, and look, a few people were liking him a few weeks back. I was like, no, surely not. I mean, this guy is injury prone as anything. Now, what we need is more clarity. Set to miss the start of the season. Now, it's only minor surgery, a little clearing out of whatever it is, something to do with his ankle. Start of the season, not the first 2 weeks, first 6 weeks, because we've seen this story before, haven't we? It happened last year. I reckon similar time frame. Darcy was going to miss at least the first month, and I certainly jumped on Jackson, and a few others did too, and it reaped some really good rewards, particularly early. Huge first couple of weeks, and then we probably actually didn't really see it exactly what we were hoping for. Darcy came back in round 6. Now, I've done the numbers for you. Here's his scores with Darcy. 12 games at an average of 84. And here's his games on his own. 11 games at 106. And don't be too harsh on the 106 either, because this is a guy that, you know, isn't getting the continuity of the number one ruck. I wonder how much he could average. I feel like he'd be 110 plus if he got a full season. You're the guy. Just play week after week. But it's a watch for me. I just feel like last year what we learnt was it was just so frustrating feeling like you had a premium for 5 weeks and then a headache. And Darcy did miss parts of the season. He missed patches, and Jackson finished the year as the sole ruck. But the only way I would be looking at Jackson was if Flynn doesn't get the main man at West Coast. He's in 23% of sides, and I actually really like him as a prospect. In their most recent match sim, intra-club, whatever you sort of want to call it, they did go head-to-head, and Flynn was in what many people sort of dubbed the B team. But then in some notes I was reading in the Big Footy comments was a lot of people thought Flynn probably had the better of Williams around the ground. He took some contested marks. The ruck work itself was a bit of a 0-0 draw, they said. But yeah, they felt that Flynn was still very much in the race, and it was really a don't look too much into the A's and B's for this position. They're merely going against each other. So I am so excited and very interested to wait to see what happens with these two guys. If Flynn were to not be the main man, or he's sharing it, that's when I might really have to rejig things, because Flynn is in my side and I'd have to find some cash. And I just feel like it'd be too hard to find the cash for Cherry, but I might have to. Anyway, that's a future problem. But I feel like West Coast have a few hidden gems too. Like Liam Baker's going under the radar. He's playing in the half-back line, and by all reports, having a bit of dash. They like to use him upon exiting D50. So I don't think I'm going to pick him unless he bangs the door down in a practice game. But I think he's someone that we should be talking about more. Even Ryan Marich, again, this is a bit of an awkward price because he's 223, but only 3% of sides, and he's sort of taking that Tom Barrass role. And if you do a bit of digging, he was a highly touted user of the footy in his junior days. Drafted mid-season draft or whatever it was last year, mainly played as a forward. He's been swung down back sort of to replace Tom Barrass. And yeah, taking some kickouts. And again, when I was sifting through the Big Footy stuff, they said, okay, he made a couple of blunders, but he does look pretty accomplished. They like to get the ball in his hands because he's one of their better users. You know, Duggan is playing in the middle. So, yeah, it sort of feels like McGovern and Marich took the bulk of their kickouts. Interesting one to keep your eye on. So there are a couple of talking points. What else did we want to discuss? I feel like there was definitely Parker I wanted to touch on. Look, for what it's worth, I reckon Isaac Rankin in 19% of sides is ridiculous. He is tearing it up. I'm all about Horn Francis going close to 110, but if Rankin, cross your fingers, if he stays fit, I can see him pushing the 110 mark as well. Just oozing class. It's just screaming prime of my career sort of stuff. Best year of his career. That's what I'm feeling. We will touch on Luke Parker because obviously George Wardlaw went down. And again, we'll defer to the notes. I initially wasn't too keen on Parker. I sort of thought he's gone there as a bit of that mentoring role. You know, not too interested. Probably plays a bit forward. Really want to just get the likes of Powell and McKercher and all that sort of running through the middle. But by all reports, the clear midfield approach that's coming through at North practice is Sheasel and LDU, the clear mids. Tom Powell getting a stack of time in there. But then it's Luke Parker. And I think Wardlaw's injury is just really going to mean that, okay, that's one guy that they were going to give exposure to gone. And I think Wardlaw's that in and under type that Parker can be. And if you look through here, Parker, 343, strong in the mid, started forward, but rotated in the CBAs. Likely a fourth mid. And then, you know, Will Phillips is getting a bit of time, fifth in line. So it sort of checks out. But then if I just roll over to, there was an inbox. I was reading something as we just dive into Shorty's DMs. Where was it? This one. That's an old draft league code, so don't try and grab that one. Where was it? Hope no one is too bothered by me going through the bits and pieces here. Oh, where was it? Can't search that. That's cool. Bear with me. This is not the most interesting. I feel like there was an extra part. Yep. With Wardlaw missing, Phillips and Parker picked up the majority of the slack, recording the most CBAs of the mids. So that's super interesting. I just feel like, almost has to be in. And it's crazy because we've got McRae, we've got Smith, we've got Daniel. Sanders looks a lock. Parker, Peatling. They all feel like genuinely good picks, like within their own right. But then there's that party that says, no, not too many mid-prices. But to be honest, I'm looking at them all, and it could just be that mid-price year. So clearly there's a long way to go, and we're full of optimism at the moment. Anything's possible. But we'll definitely get a clearer picture of what's going on and who is genuinely set for that breakout year when we get some actual practice games. So watch this space. But they're just a few sort of updates that I just wanted to touch on. We'll have my team update throughout the week. At some stage, we'll go live on Wednesday. I also want to just reward those that stay to the end of the video. We are giving a few league codes out over the next couple of weeks. But look, if you've stayed tuned all this time, thanks very much. Here's a league code, 952083. Get stuck into it, Shorty SuperCoach League number 2. We already filled one up by giving away a code on, might have been the YouTube live. We might give one away again on Wednesday, maybe in the TikTok live. But yeah, I'll always have the ones that I schedule. I'll let you know the date ahead of time and release 3 or 4 that way. But sometimes it's just nice to reward those who watch the full vid and stick around to the end. So, well played. Anyway, I'll look forward to taking you on in there, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.